Welcome to Using Your Teacher Voice, Episode 11. Today I want to talk about digital citizenship. This was something that came up from a question after I gave a digital citizenship seminar with some students. We had an incident here last week in our building where a student thought he was being harassed or bullied. He felt he was being harassed and bullied. It kind of boiled to a head a little bit, and then a bunch of his friends and family members took up his cause online. There was calls, there were several posts, in support of him and, wishing him the best and, encouragement. That kind of changed into, well, who was doing this to you? And it didn't take long before that person's name was made. From there, the conversation turned to, well, when does he leave school, or what door does he go out of, or what does he drive? We will take care of this. We will even the score. That was not a very positive turn in that discussion online. And then the comments then got very specific as to what they might do to this person, how and when they would do it. Then people started chiming in, well, make sure to get so-and-so, make sure to get so-and-so. Then it was, make sure you get the principal. And then the student who originally felt he was being bullied or harassed and whose situation started all of this, he mentioned by name the assistant principal and that he wanted something done against him as well. Now, I think that this is a fairly dangerous situation. When you're using specific names and you are asking people to do specific physical harm to people with specific names, I think that's a pretty dangerous situation. I think it's, overall, it's kind of dangerous because you can't tell how serious this is, right? I know people get online and say things in the heat of the moment. They post things, when they're passionate or angry or excited or whatever. And I know in real life, in verbal-to-verbal, face-to-face communications, maybe we would understand like how serious you were with something like that. But online you don't. All you have is the text, and then you have to go by what the words are. And again, because this was so specific, I think that added a new layer of concern to this. As this online thread was going on, there were several students who kind of chimed in, and they weren't like, go get this person, go get that person. But they were kind of building that ground support, Hey, this is right, there's a lot of bullying going on, and if somebody doesn't do something about it, someone else is going to have to, and there was just this kind of swell of support. And again, a lot of these students, a lot of these second-tier involvees, they weren't necessarily directly involved in the threat, but they kind of built that general feeling of support. And I think it kind of motivated the rest of that discussion. Several of those students that were voicing their concern, their support, were AP students. And the AP teacher asked me, the AP English teacher said, hey, would you come in and do a digital citizenship lesson in the context of scholarship and college applications? All of her students, they're all college bound. And the idea was that, we wanted to talk about the fact that things that you do online reflect who and what you are, and people who make decisions, colleges, scholarship, committees, things like that, they take that stuff in as well. So I gave the seminar, and I think it went very well, and the students asked some very good questions afterwards. But then as I'm packing up and walking, getting ready to leave, one of the students asked the regular class teacher, a question that I thought was pretty indicative of what we're doing. The question was, what happened? Why did we get this lesson today? And the teacher's like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, what happened? Did somebody do something? Is that why you guys had to come in and do this lesson today? Now, we know what had happened, and I think a lot of people knew what happened, too. We knew what sparked it. I think that it wasn't a secret in a lot of quarters. But that comment brought up a couple points that I think are pretty salient to this. And one of them I talked about before, about the fact that we can't just be doing one-off digital citizenship lessons. To do digital citizenship well, I think we need to do this on a regular basis. We need to be constantly addressing this. We need to be constantly talking about this. We need to constantly be bringing it up in front of students so that they are aware that it's in front of them, and it just kind of builds this general sense of knowledge. If it's a one-off thing, we're reading Shakespeare, now we're going to do digital citizenship, now we're going to go back to a writing assignment, it doesn't feel like it's important. Or many times the students feel like, oh, well, something happened and they just have to check in the box that they addressed it, right? They don't take it as seriously. There are a lot of things that teachers can do to be teaching digital citizenship on a regular basis, starting with, copyright, and when we're doing presentations or finding materials online, how to do that appropriately, that discussion of, you just don't take someone's stuff and how and why, why that's right, why that's the way that you have to do things, and how to work within the system. I think that those constant conversations of, did you hear about this situation? Did you read about that situation? And bring up those maybe some things that have happened that are in the news. Somebody loses a scholarship or something that happens online. And just, what do you think about that? What do you guys think about this? Would you have acted this way? Why would other people be upset by this? And just kind of having those casual conversations on a regular basis just reinforces the message that we're delivering. I think also, too, the other question was, the other point that this brought up is the idea that digital citizenship lessons should be preventative instead of reactive. We should be proactive, not reactive. We should be teaching digital citizenship in a way that gives students the tools to make some good decisions while they're online. And those decisions are right for them. Not everybody's in the same place when it comes to online. And so by giving people tools that they can use for their particular situation, I think are important. But if we can do that, and we start early enough, and we start regularly enough, and we're constantly reinforcing this message, I think that we start to build a culture, this kind of base knowledge, so that students do make better decisions online. And we don't have as many of these situations that we see. So we want to try to prevent things from becoming a problem, not having to react to things. Like, here's a problem, now we have to do this to address it. We want to give students those skills and those tools that they can use to make better decisions.